The Volkswagen Beetle, the people's car. It is the most recognizable car shape in the world, a rounded silhouette that promised adventure, simplicity, and freedom. Its story is one of the most improbable in history, born from the darkest impulses of the 20th century, only to become a global symbol of peace and counterculture. This is the epic of the Volkswagen Beetle. Its origins are shrouded in controversy. In 1930s Germany, Adolf Hitler envisioned a Volkswagen, a people's car, that would mobilize the nation. He enlisted the brilliant engineer Ferdinand Porsche to bring this vision to life. The brief was specific: a car that could carry a family of 5 at 100 km/h or 62 miles per hour, while achieving exceptional fuel economy and costing no more than a motorcycle. The car that Porsche designed was revolutionary. Its air-cooled, rear-mounted, flat-four-boxer engine was simple and reliable. Its backbone chassis was incredibly strong. The body, with its rounded, streamlined shape, was both distinctive and cost-effective to produce. This was not Hitler's design, nor Porsche's alone. It was a synthesis of existing ideas perfected. The rear engine layout, the torsion bar suspension, it was engineered for the Autobahn and for rough country roads. But its genesis was tainted. The factory was built with forced labor, and the strength through joy savings scheme saw thousands of Germans pay for a car they would never receive. With the outbreak of World War II, the Wolfsburg factory was repurposed to produce the militarized Kübelwagen and Schwimmwagen. The dream of a people's car was put on hold, and the factory was largely destroyed by Allied bombs. The Beetle's survival is a miracle of pragmatism. In 1945, the British Army took control of the devastated factory. Major Ivan Hurst saw potential in the odd-looking car. He convinced the British military to order 20,000 vehicles, saving the factory from being dismantled as war reparations. Under Hurst's management, production slowly restarted. The car was renamed simply Volkswagen, and its quality and robustness began to win over a war-ravaged Europe. By 1949, the factory was producing over 46,000 cars a year and was handed over to the German government, led by the formidable Heinz Nordhoff. Under Nordhoff's relentless focus on quality and continuous improvement, the Beetle became the symbol of West Germany's Wirtschaftswunder, the economic miracle. Exports began in earnest, first to neighboring countries, then, crucially, to the United States in 1949. Initially, it was a hard sell. It was small, strange, and underpowered. But clever, self-deprecating advertising from the agency Doyle Dane Bernbach changed everything. It was marketed as reliable, economical, and honest. And it was. Its air-cooled engine couldn't overheat. Its simple mechanics made it easy to repair. It was the anti-Detroit, and a new generation loved it for that. In the 1960s, the Beetle transcended being a car. It became a cultural phenomenon. It was the star of Disney's The Love Bug films as Herbie, a car with a mind of its own. For the counterculture movement, it was a symbol of anti-materialism and freedom, perfect for road trips and artistic expression. Its global reach was staggering. Production spread to countries like Mexico, Brazil, and Australia. By February 17, 1972, the Beetle, now officially called the VW 1200 or Type 1, produced its 15,007,034th unit, breaking the world production record held for decades by the Ford Model T. By the early 1970s, the Beetle was showing its age. It was noisy, slow, and lacked modern safety features. Its successor, the front-wheel drive Volkswagen Golf Rabbit in the US, was introduced in 1974. It was everything the Beetle was not: modern, efficient, and practical. In Germany, they stopped making the Beetle in 1978, but in Mexico and Brazil, it was still El Vocho, the people's car. It was cheap, tough, and everyone knew how to fix it. It was a taxi, a family car, a national treasure. Production in Germany ended, but the Beetle refused to die. The last classic Beetle rolled off the production line in Puebla, Mexico, on July 30, 2003. The final car, number 21,529,464, was immediately shipped to the VW Museum in Wolfsburg, a symbolic end to a 65-year production run. Story, however, had a coda. In 1998, capitalizing on massive nostalgia, Volkswagen launched the new Beetle. It captured the iconic shape, but was a completely modern, front-engine, front-wheel drive car built on a Golf platform. It was a style icon for a new generation, though it lacked the utilitarian soul of its predecessor. A third generation arrived in 2011, more aggressive and performance-oriented, before production ended for good in 2019. The Volkswagen Beetle's journey is unparalleled. It was conceived in tyranny, saved by its enemies, and perfected as a tool of democratic renewal. It mobilized continents, defined generations, and became a canvas for personal expression. It was flawed, slow, and basic, yet it was loved by millions for its honesty, its character, and its indomitable spirit. It proved that a car could be more than just a machine. It could be a friend, a symbol, and a piece of history on four wheels. The people's car, truly for the people, by the people. We have traced the Beetle's epic timeline, but its true story is found in the grease under its fenders, in the subcultures it spawned, and in the profound psychological bond it forged with its owners. This is the story beyond the shape. The Beetle was an automotive paradox, a collection of engineering decisions that defied convention yet created a bizarrely harmonious whole. The rear engine, rear-wheel drive layout. This provided excellent traction in snow and mud, as the engine's weight was over the drive wheels. However, it created a pendulum effect, making the car prone to dramatic oversteer if lifted off the throttle mid-corner, a handling quirk every Beetle driver learned to respect. The air-cooled engine, with no radiator, water pump, or coolant, it was simple and immune to freezing. But it could be noisy, underpowered, and prone to overheating in traffic if the fan and tinware were not perfectly maintained. The torsion bar suspension, a compact and durable system that used twisted steel bars instead of coil springs. It was robust, but its ride was famously firm. To work on a Beetle is to understand a different logic. Everything is mechanical. You can adjust the valve clearances with a feeler gauge and a wrench. The carburetor can be rebuilt on your kitchen table. It was a car that taught an entire generation how things work. It was transparent in its mechanics in a way no modern car can be. While the sedan was the icon, the Beetle's platform, known internally as Type 1, was a versatile starting point. It spawned the Carman Ghia, the Type 2 bus, the Cubewagen, and countless other variants. But its true global impact was how it was adopted and adapted. In Mexico, the Vocho became an inseparable part of the urban landscape, primarily as a green and white taxi. It was a symbol of working-class resilience. In Australia, it became a beloved, if quirky, alternative to the dominant British and American cars. In Brazil, it was a national workhorse, with production lasting for decades and fostering a massive aftermarket and racing scene. A retired taxi driver in Mexico City once said the following about his car: "My Voch was my office for 30 years. We went through everything together. I knew its every sound. It was slow, yes, but it was tough. You could fix it with a piece of wire and a prayer. It wasn't just a car, it was my partner in putting food on the table." The Beetle's simple, cheap, and interchangeable parts made it the perfect canvas for customization. It became a global platform for self-expression. The cowl look, born in Southern California, this style emphasized lowered suspension, polished smoothness, and dechromed bodies, often with wild, powerful engines hidden in the back. The Baja Bug, the opposite philosophy. Stripped, raised, and fitted with knobby tires and reinforced chassis, these Beetles were transformed into formidable off-road machines. The Resto Mod, a modern fusion, combining a classic body with modern brakes, suspension, and even electric powertrains. This culture was fueled by a massive ecosystem of specialist magazines, clubs, and parts suppliers that spanned the globe, creating a community bound not by geography, but by their love for the people's car. In a world of planned obsolescence and chrome-laden excess, the Beetle's honesty was its greatest strength. It never pretended to be something it wasn't. It was slow, but it was reliably slow. It was basic, but it was honestly basic. This fostered a unique sense of ownership pride. You didn't own a Beetle to show off your wealth. You owned it to show off your practicality, your individuality, or your rejection of the mainstream. It was the ultimate underdog, and everyone loves an underdog. The Beetle was cute in an era of aggressive. It had a face, friendly headlights, and a smiling grille. This anthropomorphism was crucial. People gave their Beetles names. They saw them as characters, not just appliances. This emotional connection is the holy grail of product design, and the Beetle achieved it through sheer, unadulterated character. The Beetle's final chapter was written not by engineers, but by marketers. The 1998 new Beetle was a designer object, a car that sold on the currency of nostalgia. It was a monument to its own ancestor. While successful, it could never replicate the raw, utilitarian genius of the original. And now, as Volkswagen pivots to an electric future with the ID. Family, the original Beetle's legacy is clearer than ever. It stands as a reminder of a different era, a time of mechanical simplicity, of repairability, and of a singular, stubborn vision that, against all odds, put the world on wheels. The Volkswagen Beetle was more than a product. It was a phenomenon. It was a piece of social sculpture shaped by dictators, soldiers, factory workers, engineers, hippies, families, and dreamers. It taught us that greatness is not defined by power or luxury, but by accessibility and character. It proved that the most enduring design is one that serves a human need with honesty and grace. In its ceaseless putter, we hear the heartbeat of the 20th century, a complex, contradictory, but ultimately hopeful sound, the sound of the people. In its glorious imperfection, the Beetle embodied a profound aesthetic principle, the Japanese concept of wabi-sabi, the beauty of things that are imperfect, impermanent, and incomplete. A new Beetle was charming, but a used Beetle was beautiful. Its dents told stories. Its faded paint was a map of sun-drenched journeys. Its rattles were a unique symphony. This car is a lesson in non-attachment. Owners were not attached to its pristine condition. They were attached to its spirit, its function. They accepted its decay and participated in its renewal. It taught that value is not a state of being new, but a state of being perfectly suited to one's purpose, however worn one may appear. Unlike a modern car whose value plummets with the first scratch, a Beetle's value was in its unwavering ability to go. Its aesthetics were functional, and its flaws were part of its charm. Owning a Beetle was not a passive experience. It was a relationship built on ritualistic care. There was a weekly checklist: check the oil, check the tire pressure, clean the points, and adjust the carburetor. These were not chores, they were conversations with the machine. This regular hands-on maintenance fostered a deep mechanical empathy. Owners learned the car's rhythms, the specific sound of a valve needing adjustment, the feel of a clutch cable nearing its end. This knowledge was empowering. It demystified technology and gave people a tangible sense of control in an increasingly complex world. In a pre-digital age, the Beetle was a gateway to understanding the man-made world. It was a teacher of cause and effect. Turn this wrench, and the engine runs smoother. This created a generation of problem solvers. The Beetle didn't just transport your body, it engaged your mind. It was a bulwark against helplessness. In our era of proprietary software and planned obsolescence, the Beetle's design philosophy seems almost radical. It was the ultimate open-source platform. For over half a century, its core components remained largely interchangeable. A door from a 1960 Beetle could fit a 1980 model. This created a perpetual circular economy for parts. Junkyards became libraries of components. This was not a failure of innovation, it was a triumph of humane design. It ensured that the car could never be made obsolete by the manufacturer because its users collectively own the means to keep it alive. Does the Beetle's spirit live on in Volkswagen's electric future? The company has tried to capture its essence with the ID. Buzz, a modern reimagining of the Type 2 bus, but the original Beetle's soul is harder to replicate. Its legacy is not a shape, but an ethos, the idea of a single, brilliantly executed, accessible concept for the masses. The mission of the ID, family, is the same, to electrify the people, but the relationship is different. You don't tinker with an ID4, you update it. The sense of direct, mechanical agency is gone, replaced by the convenience of seamless, but opaque technology. The Volkswagen Beetle, therefore, is more than a relic. It is a paradigm. It is a philosophy of resilience in a world of fragility. It is a statement of independence in an age of dependency. It is a library of mechanical truth in an era of digital illusion. It is a teacher of grace, accepting its own imperfections as part of a longer, more meaningful journey. It asks us the most profound question of all. In our relentless pursuit of the new, the complex, the connected, what profound and simple truths have we left behind? The Beetle continues its journey, not as a nostalgic memory, but as a quiet, rolling prophecy. A reminder that the future of resilience may not look like a spaceship, but something much more familiar, something much more human, something with a face, a heart, and a soul made entirely of metal. The Beetle was a chameleon, but its changing skin reflected the anxieties and aspirations of the era. It was a rolling barometer of the 20th century. The 1950s, the rebuilder. In post-war Europe, it was a symbol of pragmatic recovery, of getting back to work. The 1960s, the rebel. In America, it was a statement against Detroit's excess, a machine for the emerging individualistic, anti-establishment consciousness. The 1970s, the survivor. During the oil crises, its legendary fuel economy made it a symbol of smart, sustainable thinking amidst panic. The 1990s, the memory. Its reintroduction as the new Beetle spoke to a culture steeped in nostalgia, seeking comfort in the familiar shapes of a perceived simpler time. Even in death, the Beetle refuses to disappear. Its iconic monocoque body is too perfect, too symbolic to be merely crushed. Around the world, deceased Beetles are given a post-automotive life. They become sheds, planters, diners, and art installations. The machine sheds its mechanical heart, but retains its soulful shape, continuing its service to humanity in a new, static form. It achieves a kind of industrial immortality. The Volkswagen Beetle's journey is a human-scale epic. It is not the story of a perfect machine, but of a perfectly human one. It was flawed, lovable, resilient, and adaptable. It taught us that a curve can be more revolutionary than a horsepower figure, that simplicity can be more sophisticated than complexity, that a global icon can also be your next-door neighbor. We have followed the Beetle through history, culture, and into the human heart. But to truly lay its story to rest, we must see it not as a thing that was made, but as an idea that had to manifest, a necessary anomaly in the universe. In the grand, indifferent physics of the cosmos, the probability of a Volkswagen Beetle emerging was infinitesimally small. It required a specific sequence of tyranny, war, salvation, and love. Its existence is a testament to chaos, and its endurance a testament to order. We must, for a moment, strip away the nostalgia. The Beetle was brilliant, but it was also a product of its brutal origins. Its genius was born from a demand for a tool, not a companion. Its simplicity was a function of cost and industrial policy, not philosophical purity. This is the unsentimental truth. The Beetle did not care about you. It was a machine. Its reliability was a cold, engineered fact. The love we poured into it was a one-way transaction. We anthropomorphized a collection of steel, rubber, and glass, and in doing so, we revealed a profound human need to find a friend in the machine. The Beetle is the perfect Rorschach test. We see in it what we need to see. The optimist sees resilience. The pessimist sees a relic of fascism. The romantic sees freedom. It has no inherent meaning. Its meaning is the meaning we assign it. It is a hollow icon, and that is precisely where its power lies. The era of the mechanical, owner-repairable car is over. The Beetle's death was not an accident, it was an inevitability. We traded mechanical empathy for digital convenience, tangible wrenches for intangible software. We gained comfort, safety, and silence. We lost agency, understanding, and that unique, puttering music. The world the Beetle was built for no longer exists, and in a way, that is its final, triumphant lesson. It teaches us about transience, about the beautiful, heartbreaking fragility of all things, even those that seem unbreakable. The last Beetle has rolled off the line. The sound of its engine is fading from our streets, becoming a memory, then a legend. So what remains when the last engine falls silent? What is the Beetle's final legacy? It is not the millions of cars still on the road. It is the Beetle-shaped hole in the world. It is the space it leaves behind, a space for imperfection, for character, for the joy of a machine that is gloriously, unapologetically alive. It is the memory of a time when we could understand the world with our hands and a simple set of tools. The Beetle was a brief, beautiful argument against anonymity, a protest in sheet metal against the bland and the disposable. It was a testament to the power of a single, stubborn, simple idea. And long after the last one is gone, that idea will remain. The idea that a machine can have a soul. The idea that something can be built not just to function, but to be loved. The putter may fade, the shape may rust, but the idea is eternal. In the end, the Beetle is a story about ourselves, our capacity for creation and destruction, our need for freedom and our longing for connection, our desire to leave a mark, even a small, smiling, puttering mark, on the world as we pass through it. It was, is, and always will be the people's car, because it carries not just people, but their hopes, their memories, and their stories. And in that, it has achieved something no other machine ever has. It has become eternal. That is all we have for you in this video. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed what has been presented, please smash the like button. If you are new here, do subscribe and turn on notification so that you would be the first to get notified whenever we come up with another video. Until then, stay safe.